This is lesson number 22 of 53 weekly beginning guitar lessons. This is a very important lesson. In the last lesson, started the Form 2 major scale. Previous to that, we had talked about the basic open C scale and the natural scale. Well, I hope this is all starting to make a little bit of sense with you. You need to really look at the charts. The major scale, in review, you should be feeling real good about playing the scale, the Form 2 major scale, forwards and backwards, and seeing where the root notes are. And also the scale should be you should be able to start the scale on the top interval. So you want to be able to even pause on the root sometimes. You should be able to play that forwards and backwards and with good finger placement. Should be looking nice. And you should also be able to count the scale. Do you remember what the formula is for a major scale? Half steps between, I think I heard you right, 3, 4, and 7 and 1, or 7 and 8. Yes, that's the major scale formula. This lesson, we're getting introduced to the minor scale. And the minor scale formula is half steps between 2, 3, and 5, 6. Everything else is a whole step. So if I take 1 with my root, Form 2, we're not going to be starting with second finger like we did the major scale. We're starting with the first finger. So you're giving me 1, 2, 3. There's the second and third degree of the scale. So there's our first half step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's our other half step. And then 7 and 1 is now a whole step. 1, 2, 3, half step. 4, and then we shift. 5, 6 is a half step. 7, 1. 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See the shift? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So unlike the major scale where everything is right in order and we don't have to do any shifting, we have to do what's called a shift in the minor scale. Watch my fingers again. So I'm using 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3. Here's where the shift happens between the D string and the G string. My third finger on the 7th fret, it's a root, but I've got to shift down to the 4th fret for my first finger for the G string so that I can complete playing 1, 2, 4. So after I played 1, 2, 4 fingers, now I've got to shift up. I've got to pivot my 4th finger, bring my first finger up to the 5th fret on the next string, the B string, so I can complete first finger, second finger, 4th finger, and then I'm to the root. When I come back, 1, 4, 2, 1, I have to pivot on my index finger for my 4th finger to come down 1 fret. Okay? So I've got a shift. That's called the shift. I've got my first finger. I'm going to shift to the 4th finger to bring me into 4th position. And now I'm going to shift from the 4th position back up to the 5th position, using my 3rd finger to go back to the root. Hopefully you see what shifting is about. Very important. This is the first shifting we're doing with our minor scale form. It's a difference between the major and minor. You've got to be able to count the scale, just like the major scale that you've been counting, except you're counting the minor scale. And you're realizing those half steps between 2, 3, and 5, 6. So if I ask you where the 2 3s are, you go, here's a 2 3, here's another 2 3, here's a 5 6, and here's a 5 6. So horizontal and parallel scales, if I was just to take one finger and go 1 2, whole step, now a half step between 2 3. 3 to 4 is a whole step, 4 to 5 is a whole step, 5 to 6 is the half step, 6 to 7 is a whole step, 7 to 8 whole step, 8 7 6 5 half step, 4 3, and then between 3 and 2 is a half step, 1. If I kept going backwards, I would go from 1 down a whole step, down another whole step, so that would be 1 7 6, and then 6 5 half step, 5 6. So I hope that makes sense, because you need to see the scales vertically and horizontally. So the minor scale, you must remember for next lesson and for always, forever, half steps between 2 and 3 and 5 and 6. There are many other forms of minor scales. You will be learning some of them later, but this is the pure minor scale. Remember, the major scale kind of sounds really happy, right? The minor scale, it's got that dark side. Yikes. A little more melancholy. See where your roots are. One, 2, 3. You need to count when you learn this scale. You go very slow. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that'll be a great start on your minor scale, Form 2. We're just dealing with the Form 2 scales. Very important lesson, and I hope you're reviewing everything. I want to go back to chromatic scale, finger placement, natural scale, saying your note names, right? We're going to be doing more with chromatic scale pretty soon. Also, our chord progressions. We did the first 5 chord progressions. You should feel real good about strumming your chords now and getting a nice rhythm, a nice strum on your right hand, and being able to count. And then we also got into shuffle. And we did boogie. I'm shuffling. I think I'm going to boogie. Shuffle, boogie. So we've got that going. You've got your turnarounds going. And now we've got major scale, Form 2, and minor scale, Form 2.